Justin Verlander is one of the greatest pitchers in baseball and has been for years. He's pitched 17 seasons, thrown over 3,000 innings, all to a 3.24 ERA. Throughout his entire career, Verlander has always been a horse, someone who goes out and will eat up innings like it's nothing. From 2007 through 2014, JV threw at least 200 innings every single year, throwing 240 innings in 2009, over 250 in 2011, and over 238 in 2012, leading all of baseball in innings thrown those 3 seasons, and then he went out at 36 years old and threw the most innings in baseball in 2019, winning his second Cy Young Award. Tommy John came knocking at the door, but Verlander hasn't skipped a beat upon returning to the mound after going under the knife, throwing 175 innings to the tune of a 1.75 ERA, winning 18 games and throwing as hard as ever, all at 39 years of age. It's pretty incredible to see. Part of what has made Justin Verlander such a lock for the Hall of Fame is how well he does under the bright lights of October. I mean, he's the guy you want out there on the mound in a big game. As for a good example, he threw a complete game shutout in Oakland in a do-or-die Game 5 back in 2012, going out the very next October and did almost the exact same thing, this time going 8 innings of shutout ball. At this point, a guy like Justin Verlander doesn't seem to have anything that derails him. Again, he's almost 40 years old, yet is still throwing as hard as he ever has, and is pitching as well as he ever has. I think it's happened, though. I think we found his kryptonite. The World Series. Justin Verlander may be a good postseason pitcher, but when things get down to the bright lights of the World Series, it's literally like Superman being exposed to kryptonite, and there's been enough evidence to show it's true. Back in 2006, when Verlander won the Rookie of the Year award, he didn't pitch very well in October, pitching to an ERA near 6 in 4 starts. As for Game 1 of the World Series, he'd get knocked around for 6 earned runs on 6 hits, 2 which left the yard, as the Cardinals won the game 7-1. In Game 5, Verlander was much better, giving up just 1 run this time, but he still wasn't sharp, as he'd give up 6 more hits while walking 3 in 6 innings as the Cardinals went on to win the game and the series against Detroit. 6 years later, Verlander's Tigers were back in the Fall Classic, and in the one and only World Series game he pitched that year due to the Giants sweeping the series, Verlander got rocked for 5 runs on 6 hits, 2 of which were home runs by Pablo Sandoval, who'd go on to hit 3, while also walking a batter. Skip ahead 5 years, and Verlander is now in Houston pitching for a World Series winning Astros team. Now, 2017 was the best we've seen Verlander in the World Series, as he throws 6 innings in both his starts, allowing 3 runs in the first start and 2 in the second. But again, he just wasn't the dominant Justin Verlander we've all come accustomed to, with the Dodgers connecting for 2 bombs off of him in Game 2. Just 2 years later, the Stros were back in the Fall Classic, and Verlander, the literal American League Cy Young Award winner that year, just wasn't good. In Game 2 against the Nationals, Verlander gave up 4 runs on 7 hits, one which was a homer, and walked 3, all in 6 innings. He just flat out wasn't good, and he wasn't any better in Game 6. In Game 6, Verlander would throw 5 innings and give up 3 runs on 5 hits, 2 home runs, and walked 3. To add on to that, he would get absolutely owned in his own house. After telling Juan Soto that he shouldn't do his shuffle here in Houston, Soto took the very next pitch and catapulted it to Austin, Texas. The Nats went on to win that game and the series. Then comes 2022. After a 3-year hiatus, Justin Verlander is back in the World Series. Now, despite not having the best track record when it comes to pitching in the World Series, when given a 5-0 lead, a guy of Verlander's caliber and someone who's had the season that he's had this year, putting up the numbers that he's put up in 2022, you would think the Astros were a safe bet to win the game. In Game 1 of the World Series against the Phillies, Kyle Tucker went deep in his first 2 at-bats, making it 5-0 Astros, while Verlander had been perfect through 3 innings. 9 up, 9 down. This had to finally be the change. You're up 5, Verlander is dominating, what can go wrong? Well, that's exactly when Batman showed up with his kryptonite. A Nick Castellanos 2-out single would drive in run number 1 for the Phillies, followed by an Alec Bohm double to drive in 2 more. Although that was it for the Phils in the 4th, they were far from done. A JT Realmuto 2-run double would bring the Phillies all the way back from a 5-0 hole to a whole new ballgame. Verlander would finish the inning, getting Bryce Harper to ground out and Nick Castellanos to strike out, but that was it for JV. 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 walks, 5 runs, and an eventual extra inning loss for his Astros. The Phillies certainly have something really special going on this year, but it's clear as ever that Verlander is not a good World Series pitcher. In 8 World Series starts throughout his long career, Justin Verlander has a record of 0-6 with an ERA of over 6. Unless the Phillies make quick work of the Astros, Verlander should be getting another shot at redemption to face his World Series demons. Hopefully he'll get that opportunity and deliver. Because where it stands right now, Justin Verlander is just Clark Kent without any powers.